Hi crystal lovers, it's Kel here again. Today I'm going to bring my ideas and understandings on how crystals actually work. This is one of the most asked questions I get. So it's taken me a long time to really get the understanding of how scientifically that they work, even though I knew that they did. Like to really get that in my head and understand it, but I do know now. But also, how do they work to change us? How do they work to heal us, balance us, all of those kind of things? You know, how do we take them from being that magical, mystical thing in the room to something that we actually understand as a functioning tool? And how do we also combine those two things? Because they're not either. Some parts of being or working with crystals is really magical and very esoteric, and other parts of it are really, really grounded and really, really functional, which is why I think that they work so well and why I've been working with them now for at least 35 years, so probably more, 37 years or so. So, okay, straight to it. Why do they work? How do they work? What happens is crystals, I've got a whole big box full of them here, usually pick my rose quartz. Crystals are a very specific grouping of minerals that group together in certain layers or functions. So they might be through come together through certain shapes. So they might be all very cubed, so very much like pyrite, or have a certain structure or a crystalline set. So there's more information about that I put up on the page quite regularly. So that's a very scientific way of understanding them. They're a very set pattern. They don't change. They stay in that same pattern. So if you imagine a really, really long road that stays in that same pattern and doesn't deviate, it doesn't have a lot of roads coming off it. Whereas with us, we're really changeable. Like we change with when somebody speaks to us, we change with the light, with the music that we're listening to, we change with who we're talking to, what food we've eaten, the time in our life to make it a little bit of a longer change, you know, what we've learned, what we've understood. We're changing and constantly evolving all of the time. So crystals have that aspect, but it's a lot slower. So if you imagine this crystal here, so this is a smoky quartz, this is one that works with me quite often in my office. So this is, you know, at least 200 million years old. So it has been the same and constantly growing within the same patterns for over 200 million years. So with this one, with the smoky quartz, it's had been subjected to for really long millions of years, certain heat conditions, certain elements within the earth, and it's been a slow, very, very, very consistent progression to form what it is. So when we come, and we're at the blink of an eye, so when we come and hold this crystal, what we're feeling, whether you notice it is in the words of feeling, or it's just, you know, whether you're appealed, whether you like it or not, all of those kind of things. It doesn't matter so much about your language, but when we come in and hold that or have that crystal in our space, we're influenced by that consistent structure. So it helps our changeable floaty structure have a set point or a grounding point to be able to come in and change how we feel and be able to help us have, yeah, that more consistent flow. So what I like about crystals is that we've got so many different kinds. So you might have rose quartz, which this structure or this patterning really affects our heart, but not just our heart, like as in what we think of as our physical heart, but the heart of who we are. Like it comes in and it allows that structure to come back in, and that part of us that we might have forgotten because lots of people have told us we're no good, or we've watched, you know, way too many TV shows that are not with people of our shape, color, body size, you know, mentality in it, and so we start to think that we're not significant enough. So when you have something like rose quartz, that comes into our true heart, and when you tap into that true part of who you are as a human and start to actually let that vibration be something that you recognize and that you incorporate, and then that becomes more dominant, you start to be less caring about different people's opinions and start to actually feel your own worth and significance. Whereas something like a smoky quartz, this is, as I was saying before, because this has been in the earth and under certain radionics and heat underneath the earth for a really, really, really long period of time, this crystal really understands and isn't affected by different electromagnetic pollutions, heat, different vibrations that cause those kind of structures, or our structures within our body, that are really greatly affected by those vibrations of heat, radiation, those kind of things. We might get affected really, really badly by it, but because these guys were actually made within that structure and flowed and you know, been sat in it for millions and millions of years, they've evolved to be able to have that come in and be part of who they are. That allows us to easily be strong and resilient when we're being affected by different heat and radiation. I mean, this is only one thing that smoky quartz does. It does a lot more than that. It's a very good channel between earth, heaven and earth and things like that. But hopefully that's starting to make a little bit of sense. So that's when I would choose something like this. When I need that solid foundational pattern within myself, I need to not be so floaty or influenced by lots of millions of things. I can come in and get strong and resilient again in that particular thing, or, you know, let my cells and my tissues be able to relieve and remove anything of those toxicities that this crystal is particularly good at removing. So something like selenite. Selenite isn't your typical crystal. It's actually a salt, but still, again, formed over millions of years, and holds a very stable, consistent pattern. And this I sort of always see like a highway, very clear, and lines of communication. So when I want something where I know I just need to get something done, I need to be really, really clear and not have a real huge emotional reaction to things. Or if I've been, say, at the shopping center but there's everything around me all the time, and I come home and I just feel like every part of me is in chaos. This is a really, really fantastic crystal to be able to come in and use and help get us just that really long, clear lines, coming back into just being serene and without all of those other huge effects of every different kind of emotion and feeling and light and influence. So hopefully I'm starting to show you a picture of how they work. If you want to actually go into the full science of it, I've got a video a bit further down where the gentleman who actually found the AIDS virus, he's really into, he really likes DNA basically at the moment. That's his thing. So what he's done is he's discovered how the body holds DNA, or holds influences within the water structures of the body, and how that then can be scrambled right down to the parts per million and transferred into water. So DNA can be cut down into the parts per million, transferred into water. Water holds the imprint or the vibration of it, and then that can be sent through a computer code to the other side of the world, and then they can recreate the DNA. So no physical structure at all. It was all just held by the imprint of water. So how that shows you with crystals, because we're made up of water, when we are imprinted by that particular really, really long, resonant, solid, consistent vibration, that imprints the water in our body, imprints our cells, and allows us, if we choose to uptake that vibration, and helps us to function differently, helps us create different neurological patterns in our brains, which then influence our genes and how our body functions. So it's keeping it really, really simple. As I said, there's some videos further down in the feed that really go into this in detail. But so basically it's vibrational medicine. So we're holding this vibration. Excuse me, speaking of vibration. So it could be like, you know, when you listen to a song and it changes you, changes your mood, takes you back to a time. This is the same kind of thing, but it's more consistent, and when you work with them for longer periods of time, it has a really, really more maybe not a deeper effect than what music has, but it has a more solid effect and doesn't have so many different resonances in it. It's just one consistent resonancy. So it's very, I find crystal vibrational medicine is very foundry, very much about creating the foundations of who we are and what we want. So say I've got this amazing box of crystals in here. So I don't know if you can see that very well. This is a beautiful Aussie obsidian. Or say I've got this box of crystals here. So these are my working toolkits. So if I've got somebody who comes in and they're really busy, their mind's just busy, 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 they can't even conceive of the idea of actually stopping. If they stop, they have to watch TV, they have to do something. They're so full that there is no quiet space. So then just because I know what my toolkit is, I know that I can pick up something like the brown Sputnik aragonite and put that on their nervous system, so the solar plexus, put that on their nervous system or even on their spine, and that's going to help. This vibration is very particular to calming, to helping you come back in and just be able to be very, very earthed and just getting rid of everything that isn't needed, being able to take a breath until you feel it. I want you to actually feel it. I want you to get your different crystals and I want you to feel it, and I want you to see and notice the influence that they have on you. So this is how they work. They're not necessarily some magical thing. They're actually working on the vibrations and the information systems in your body to be a consistent force. So this is why I call it a toolkit, because it's like I need this particular one to do this particular thing. And I have a pretty good understanding that that's what it's actually going to do. Because of those vibrational waves, or the vibrational patterning of each particular crystal. On the other side of that, we might feel like we know what we want. That might be exactly the opposite of what we need, depending on who we are, where we are, and how much other influences are taking over. So this is where I'm being able to know how crystals work on a different level. Being able to trust your instincts. Sometimes, like I know when I'm in the shop, people will come in and they'll go straight to the right crystal and they'll be talking and saying stuff, and they'll pick it up and they'll walk around the whole shop, sometimes up to an hour with it in their hand, and then they'll look at it and they'll go, oh, I don't like this. They won't be able to put it down, or they might look at it and go, I love it, and not be able to put it down. And, you know, it does depend. But this is where your higher intellect and the crystal's vibration are coming in, is where it gets a little bit more esoteric. So sometimes it's really good to have a physical understanding of what each crystal has a possibility of doing. But on top of that, there's also a consciousness that talks to our consciousness. And it's like, you know, when you just meet someone and everybody's told you that you shouldn't like them, but you do. There's a harmony there, there's a peace there. So that's really, really important with understanding how crystals work as well. So being able to know that you don't have to consciously understand what's going on to be able to get the effect of them. It doesn't have to be something that, okay, I've picked this particular one for that reason. It can just simply be, this one makes me feel good, or this one challenges me. I had one lady once who came in and she didn't like rose quartz, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. It's really, really interesting. And she kept coming back probably every 2 days or 3 days, and she'd go back up to them. She's like, I can't stop thinking about them. I really don't like it. There's something about it that's really wrong, but I can't stop thinking about it. I can feel it in my body when I'm not here. What she was doing is, she'd been so badly abused most of her life. Any idea or feeling of that she had some kind of choice, that she wasn't limited. She'd been so imposed with limits, and this is what you have to do, this is who you have to be. She needed some time. She needed just little gentle touches of it. It's like, oh, I really don't like it, but wow, maybe I do like it. You know, 5 or 6 tastes, you know, when you're a kid and you could taste things a few times. So crystals also work like that. It doesn't have to be that they come in and they harmonize with you straight away really, really, really well. It can be that you have to use them a little bit over a little longer period of time for you to understand what your communication is and where you're going to be and who you're going to be when you work with this crystal. It doesn't have to always be from that very first moment. Yeah. Any questions? Hello, whoever's watching. Hey, Debbie. Deb, you're awesome with crystals. Put in something in the comments. And how do you think crystals work? No, she skipped out. She didn't want to talk. Hopefully that's made it a little bit more clearer. Again, further down in the feed, I've got those videos from the guy who found the AIDS virus and his understanding. So he's actually talking about DNA. He's not talking about crystals. But in that video, it explains exactly how water holds the vibration and creates like a container for that vibration. And you can carry that on no matter how many parts per million you take it down to. So that's how crystals affect our body, and also goes into, I really like that too because I'm really big on crystal elixirs. So yeah, there are specific vibrations, a wavelength that's very consistent, that has a very small grouping of influences over a really, 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 really long period of time, and it helps us come in and focus and have those experiences and open those doorways to that consciousness that that experience provides. So this is how they work. It's really, really quite simple. If you want to go in and start pulling it apart, it gets quite full on and really interesting. You don't need to do any of that. You just need to understand that it's an experience. It's a doorway or a consciousness that you can apply, hold, drink, bath with, whatever, to be able to help yourself understand, feel, and experience that. And just as an end note, I had a friend once say to me, she walked past some crystals that I just got in, and she was like, oh, I can feel their pain, I can feel they've been ripped from the earth. And it's really put me off for a little while. I was like, wow, you know, because I really trusted her opinion, and I hadn't actually been feeling that. And usually I can usually feel if the crystals need a bit of TLC. Anyway, it was good because it took me on a little journey into understanding how we get the crystals out of the earth, and you know, whether we should be using them, is it ethical. And what came through really, really, really strongly was talking to the crystal realm, because I went in there going to my cache, and this is another story for another time. But talking to the crystal realm, basically what they said is the more of us that use them and understand what we do, use them with integrity and use them with love, use them where we are actually influencing our body, not just buying them all and sitting them on the shelf and then never knowing what they do again, even though sometimes that can be fine as well. But realistically, the more of us who are actually getting what these are and what they do, the more the way that they will be brought out of the ground will change. The evolution of humanity will change, because we're going to be coming in and being able to master ourselves. No longer will we need a guru. No longer will we have to have somebody that we've got to pay money to, you know, or tithe every week so that they can hold our soul accountable. We've got the earth to come in and start working with, and the more we connect with her, the more we level up, the more we connect with her, the more she levels up. So she also said at the time, at the moment, there is some really unethical practices happening, but the more of us that change and grow, the less that will be, and that all of the crystals that are coming through now understand their purpose, their reason. It's a decision that's been made, and it's okay. What isn't okay is if we just use it as a consumer item, and you know what, that is okay too, but I really hope that you guys dive in deeper than that. This is the whole reason that I have crystal consciousness and that I'm doing the work that I'm doing. I really want you to feel for yourself, to experience for yourself what these amazing, beautiful items can do, and how they can help you change and grow to your own patterning, to how you want to be, not anybody else. This is an awesome Australian. You can tell it's Australian because of the back of it, amethyst. If it was Brazilian, it would be, yeah, like a beautiful green. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed today, and I will talk to you very, very soon.